Welcome back. If you have not discovered one of my videos before, my name's Angie. I am an intuitive psychic medium and spirit channel for a team who call themselves the Wisdom Keepers. And I do a live channeling every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Central Time that you are always welcome to come and watch when you are hanging out at home and just want to listen to a channeled message. So I have a group called the Ascension Membership, and the Ascension members get onto a private Zoom and they interact and ask questions to the Wisdom Keepers, and then I allow the Wisdom Keepers to speak through me. So as I connect with Wisdom Keepers, I also connect with higher frequency beings because the Wisdom Keepers are from the 12th dimension and they give me insight and perspectives about the human experience that are beyond the human logic. Sometimes these concepts that they bring through for me are so over my head that it takes me a while to sit into it and understand what they're trying to say. Other times they pull through things and I'm like, "Oh, that makes sense so much." Like that gives me clarity about why this happens or like being able to put puzzle pieces together is really what it is. So I often teach concepts from a very high frequency or high dimensional understanding. It's almost like they give me the ability to view the human experience from a perspective of the fifth dimension or above. And in this, I often forget that sometimes the way that my brain works or the messages I get are a little bit above the thought pattern of a human. And so the teachings that I bring through can be very high frequency, very hard to comprehend and understand. But what I love about the team I work with is that they bring these concepts through me in a way that help humans relate. So if you were to grab my book, I have written three books, but if you grabbed my last book I wrote, it's called Parables for a New Earth. And it has parables in it, basically, that talk about the human experience and how to understand the human experience. So I'm constantly asking my spirit team, my spirit guides, the wisdom keepers for more understanding of myself, more understanding of my reality, more understanding of spiritual concepts. And I try to not get too concerned with the human teaching about it. And so I spend a lot of time just listening and allowing, and not necessarily reading a book or trying to find the concept. And sometimes they bring through something that is so impactful for me that I feel like I can't not just share this with everybody. So, in this episode, I'm going to give you some of these things that they have shown me that have been blowing my mind. These are some things I've been working on myself in the last several days and gave me a little bit more clarity on the spiritual aspect of us, so the energy aspects. The first thing I want to bring through for you or give you an understanding of is a vision that both of these came through visions that they gave me. The one of the visions was the experience of the soul being connected to the human vessel or the body. And I've always had this comprehension that the soul resides, like if we could paint a picture of this, my physical body, this human body I live in, Angie, doesn't have the ability to contain all the light of my true self, the true soul frequency of who I am. So I have an oversoul. And if it helps to draw pictures in your head, if you imagine that there's a ball of energy up in the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, wherever, this ball of energy is residing in a different dimension. This is your oversoul, the true part of you. You could call it your higher self. You could call it your intuition. You could call it your guide. That part of yourself sends out a very small part of his frequency. So if you grew up in the 80s or 90s like me, there were these balls that you could put your hand on, and there'd be like little lights that came out and like touched your hands. Um, that's what I see the oversoul is. It's like the oversoul is that ball, and then the ball sends out frequencies into different experiences. So there could be multiple of them happening at once, but you're only connecting with one of those. So this particular human experience that you're in right now, whatever your name is, whatever body you live in, this is the experience that that part of your soul is focused on. So I want you to think about, this is what they have shown me as far as like the soul frequency residing within the human. If you were to physically be able to see that frequency of the soul being projected down into the human experience, when it first comes in, of course, it comes into a baby body, a little, the wisdom keepers call it a tiny human. I think the first time they said tiny human, I cracked up because I'm like, well, it's true. It is a tiny human. But so the tiny human that is being created in a mother's womb, that soul has the ability to come in and out of that little tiny human body at any time in any moment it wants to, because it hasn't fully merged with the body that is going to be in. So up until about 6, 7, 8, even the ninth month, even after the baby is pulled into the physical realm, that soul, it remains capable of interacting with that human vessel, but not necessarily fully merging with it. The merging often takes place over time. So the first few years of its life, of a tiny human's life, up until around age 7, like it becomes more and more and more merged with the human vessel. However, if we could see this from Spirit's perspective, the way that they have showed me, when you look at a human body, we in our human form can't see the energy of the soul. But what we can, if you were to see the energy of the energy of the soul goes way beyond the physical part of the human. So it almost is like this glow. And I was thinking last night, this is really an interesting thing for me to think about. You hear people say this to someone that's really happy, or somebody just got married, or somebody that had a really good experience or met a goal. Like there's this excitement or achievement or completion that somebody might go through, which allows them to feel really, really good, like in a really high frequency of like joy or excitement or anticipation. And that actually changes the energetic field of the human body and opens up the energy of the soul to expand and be more open and vibrant in a higher frequency. Because our physical body, even though the soul doesn't necessarily change, through emotions, through experiences, through interactions, through beliefs, we do have the ability to control how we interact with that soul frequency of who we are. The less we know ourselves, the more we might be in anxiety or fear or control or limiting beliefs. The more we know ourselves, the more capable we are to have self-awareness, which then changes our frequency, opens it up and expands it, and allows it to radiate at a higher frequency, which can attract more things to it. So when it's really restricted and closed off through fear or lower vibration energies, such as the emotions that we feel, like depression, shame, anger, fear, that closes off that frequency of our soul from being expanded and open. And so we can even appear defeated and depressed and sad. But when you're open and expanded, excited, and something positive is happening and you're glowing, it's funny that people say to that human, "You're glowing." You look different. You look happy. And the thing that stuck out to me most was when people say you're glowing. And what they're not realizing, and maybe they do have the ability to see energy and they don't know they're seeing it, but they're really seeing the glow of the soul and the vibration of the soul expanding and opening and feeling itself. Because that is who we truly are, is that expanded soul frequency that's open and free and full of love and excitement and joy. And so we go through ebbs and flows of this throughout our human experience where it expands and closes and expands and closes. And through that expansion and closing, we get to learn, we get to experience, we get to be physical. But the thing of it is that soul frequency, that true self that came down from the higher self, it's just having an experience within this physical realm. And everything that it experiences creates like impacts within that energy. And this is what could be causing karma energy in our soul also, because we hold on to these energies of experiences. And then when we pull our oversoul back into our higher self, we pull all that with us. And that's what gives us the desire as an oversoul, as a loving divine being of light, to come back and do it again, because they want to transmute that energy. But when you're in pure bliss and love, there's not any way to transmute it there. So it comes back to where it was created and does it again in a different human body, in a different experience, in a different way. And over time, and this is what we're experiencing with the global awakening that we're in right now. Over time, the soul expansion becomes clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer and more and more and more open, which allows us to create more of our reality and more of our experience, opening ourselves up to more opportunities, opening ourselves up to more alignment, more understanding of ourselves, more abundance, more connection, more love. Like that actually is our soul growing and expanding and glowing, really. And so this vision that they gave me, because I was thinking about, from a soul's perspective, from an oversoul's perspective, projecting itself into the human experience. And they showed me that the soul, there's always a cord attached to our higher self. There's never a disconnect from that part of ourself, because it's almost like when you send somebody. I'm going to use this example just because I went to a cave a week ago and went exploring, and they were talking about how they would tie something around this person and then send them down into the cave or down into water. But at any point, they could pull that cord back and save that person or bring them back. That's what our oversoul is. It remains connected to us, so at any point there, it can pull itself back into itself. So as we are in this experience, that oversoul is sending out a frequency down through, and if you could imagine with me, coming down through your crown chakra, activating your brain, allowing the brain to come alive and to experience itself. Then it channeled down through the third eye, through the throat, through the heart, and through the rest of your body, down through the rest of the chakra system. So if you don't know what your chakras are, they are energetic points in your physical body. And we have like 114 of them all over, inside our body and outside of our body. But the main 7 run from the crown of our head down the spine of our body all the way to where our tailbone is. And there's 7 all the way down. So it's the crown, third eye, throat, heart, and then the upper stomach is solar plexus. The sacral is the lower stomach, and then the root chakra is down where the tailbone is, or kind of where you sit, maybe like your private area. So over time, that energy completely comes in full and free as a baby. It's channeled all the way. There's no blocks in the body. Maybe the only block that could be in a baby body is that it picked up energy from its parents or its mother. Maybe there were some experiences that took place in a mother's life while she was growing the baby in her womb. And that can pull in a frequency of trauma or a frequency of belief, or some souls come in thinking, I want to take this shame from my mom, or I want to take this pain from my mom, and so they pull it into their own energy. And this is how generational cycles continue, is that we pick up not just energy from the essence of who our parents are, but then we pull in this generational trauma, this generational pattern and experience that can be created through the bloodline. So I have another video, I believe it's probably two behind this one if you look in the order, where I talk about the message where I received information about being healed by the blood of the lamb. So go watch that video, and that will kind of give you a little bit more clarity about what I'm talking about in this video. But here's a really cool thing that my spirit team showed me when I began to see this vision is when that light came, like I was envisioning myself as an adult right now. When the light came down through my physical body, like the higher self light came down through my body, it wasn't that it didn't go all the way down through my chakra system and give my whole physical body life. It did. That's why I'm alive. That's why my heart's beating. That's why my brain's working. That's why my nervous system is activated. That's why I have emotions and feelings and this experience. But my soul is much bigger than my physical body. It's much wider. It's more, it has much more impact and experience than just my physical self. But when I saw that light coming down through the crown, it was very strange because it didn't go straight down. Some of it did, but another part came down through the crown and made a loop, and it like a L shape, and it shot right out my third eye. And so it was coming down and then shooting out my third eye. And then through the third eye, I began to see this light frequency coming out, and that was creating my experience. That was the reality in which I saw. So we think that we're seeing reality through our eyes, but we're seeing reality through experiences, through our channeled understanding of energy, through the experience of what we brought into our energetic field. So the more you clear your energy, the clearer you see reality, the clearer you understand your ability to manifest, the clearer you create things in your existence, because then that channel becomes more pure, that comes down through the crown and then comes out the third eye. So what they showed me was that as I have aligned with my higher self and understood myself more and more and more, and healed some traumas and beliefs and things I've held on to, it's created a wider opening for my third eye to channel light, to create experiences, to create understanding, to create awareness. And that's how they're able to bring these concepts through me, because they're able to get it through, not like I'm not blocked off in my third eye to receive the information. Now, I'm not completely open. I don't know that anybody really truly can be, and I don't know that we actually want to, because I could see that really leading to like psychosis as a human, because if we were to understand all the concepts of the reality that we live in, it would probably really mess us up. But the reality of it is that we do channel this light through us. And then they've shown me that, and even now what they're showing me in my mind's eye is that children, they come in completely open, besides that little part of energy they brought in from their generational experience that they wanted to have. They chose that particular line to be born in to have that experience. But when they come in, this is why children are much more likely to remember a past life, to have connection with spirits, to have invisible friends that probably really are there. They get to see things, feel things, sense things. Their belief is so wide open that it's almost like they can remember where they came from without remembering it. And so they think you can fly, or you can jump off the playground and not get hurt. Like there's all kinds of different things that, like, children don't have a lot of fear until they're taught to have fear. Now, fear in some capacity is important. It keeps you safe. It keeps you from running out in front of the car. It keeps you from making a choice that would probably not be a good idea. But some fear actually limits us from fully understanding ourselves, believing ourselves, and trusting ourselves. And that's the fear that we're trying to eliminate. We're not trying to rid ourselves from the truth of in reality that sometimes we need to have fear to make a good choice. It means that I'm not going to jump off this cliff because I think I can get hurt, but there's something in me and my intuition that is going to guide me towards something that might feel scary, but really isn't meant to be harmful to me. It could be a choice, it could be an interaction, saying something, it could be making a decision to invest into something that your spirit is telling you to invest in, maybe a course, maybe a session with me. So, fear plays many different parts in our lives, but there are types of fear that we pull in that actually keep us from being in alignment with ourselves, and fear that keeps us in from dying, really. So over time, that child shuts off this third eye reality that they came in with. And then right now, as humans are awakening, we're reawakening that frequency to see our reality different, to channel love different, to be different within our physical self so that we can change the energetic part of ourself. And then that ripples like a ocean wave throughout all humanity, bringing this global expansion and awakening. And we could call it the Christ consciousness, but really it's the channeling of our true self. And Christ consciousness represents our true self, is really what it is. So as we continue to expand as humans, the concept of self is going to continue to expand, and we're going to like gain access to parts of ourself that we haven't understood before. And I guess my desire in sharing this with you is to give you a little bit more clarity of what is happening as you go on your healing journey, as you clear out some of your negative beliefs or fears or things that you pulled into your experience that maybe caused trauma. You're actually opening up the opportunity to know yourself more. And the more you know yourself, the more you create an abundance of light within you because your soul expands and opens. And that's the same concept as seeing somebody that appears to be glowing. They are having a positive, abundant, open experience. And we really are moving towards living that way. Now, over time, what will take place, which I think is so cool and beautiful to think about, is that when we do hit the fifth dimension, that energy that we are expanding and opening of our soul frequency, our physical bodies are going to start to shift as well. And we're going to open up the physicalness of our bodies, and our bodies are going to become less dense and less physical. So by the time the true fifth dimension new earth happens, humans are going to be non-physical. We'll have a form, but we're not going to be so dense and so physical that we're going to be limited in our comprehension of self. And I believe in some ways that, we talk, if you know much about Jesus's story, how he died and came back after 3 days, there's parts of his story that talk about he was able to walk through walls. That's because he was non-physical. He was in his non-physical form. So you could say he was a ghost. But we are moving towards that. We're becoming more and more non-physical, just like our beautiful, benevolent friends that live outside the human experience in our comprehension. So the Pleiades, the Octarians, the Andromedans, like all these beautiful, what we call aliens that live outside of this realm, they're all non-physical. And they've even showed me that the grays are non-physical until they come to Earth. The only reason they appear gray and dark the way they do to us here in this physical realm is because of the frequency here on Earth. If we were to interact with them in their original form, where they can be fully themselves, they also would be non-physical, a little bit more dense than maybe like the Octarians, but they've shown me that even the grayness, it would be like very sparkly and vibrant color, not like a dense dark gray color. So when we're in the third dimension, we have dense physical bodies. As we shift into higher frequency, we become less dense, less physical, and more light. And that is the whole reason for this journey that we're all currently on right now, to experience ourselves in this new way, to heal, to be part of rebirthing the earth. We are the humans that came to prepare earth for the ascension. Now, young children that are coming into earth, they're likely going to actually physically begin to see some of these changes. It's not that we won't see some of them, but it's not going to be fully developed for probably 2 more generations. So we have a very important, beautiful role in this expansion. And by knowing yourself more, clearing out your energy, stepping more into alignment with your truth, you are actually helping to create new earth through your unique experience. So thank you. Thank you for helping Earth. I hope this was helpful in some type of way. I would really love if you would interact this video, like it, share it, leave a comment. It really helps me, and it guides these videos to where they need to be. And if you're new here, I would love if you subscribed as well. I wish you the best day, night, evening, whatever time it is for you. I send you all the universal love. Namaste.